The April 3rd edition of the Triple Crown News Minute is presented by Kentucky Equine Research. Coming up, learn about their recent work on bone density in racehorses. Ray, it's a big weekend coming up with 3 100-point preps from New York to California, but we're going to start in the middle in Kentucky with the Bluegrass Stakes. Before we get to this year's field, tell us a little bit about the history of this race and its relevance on the Derby Trail.
This used to be a very important race in terms of who was going to win the Kentucky Derby, not so much in recent years. When I first moved to Kentucky in '88, the Bluegrass was run on a Thursday, 9 days before the Kentucky Derby. Fields got weaker. They pushed the race back several weeks before the Derby. It's now run on a Saturday, obviously. But since the Florida Derby was moved on the calendar from early March to late March, it's weakened this race a little bit, because in the previous times when it was in early March, horses would run in the Florida Derby, then come to Kentucky and use the Bluegrass as their final prep. Now the Florida Derby is the final prep, and those horses go straight to the Kentucky Derby. So it's a much weaker race than it used to be. It's grade 2 now for the third year, and I don't see it going back to grade 1 based on this year's field of 14.
Yeah, and it is a big field. You've got 14 horses in there. There are quite a few that look like maybe they're not quite on the level that they're in for a grade 2. But then you have some horses that are coming out of the Florida preps before the Florida Derby, the Fountain of Youth and the Tampa Bay Derby, and those are the top 3 choices. You have Vekoma, who's the favorite, 9-5, who's coming out of a 3rd place performance in the Fountain of Youth, behind Code of Honor and Bourbon War, 2 very nice horses on the Derby Trail, so he's a deserving favorite probably. Then you have Win 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 and Signal Man, both who had not as good performances in their last start, but their back results are pretty good. Signal Man in particular, 2nd in the Breeders' Futurity last year, then 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, won the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes at Churchill Downs, and then didn't do as well in his last race. But at 8-1, you have to look at a horse like that coming into the race. Besides the favorites, I'm guessing you're going to swing for the fences here with a long shot.
Yeah, first of all, I don't think Signal is going to be 8-1. That's his morning line price. I think he'll get bet down from that, because he does have good form. And but none of these horses really knock me off my feet. So I am looking large. I'm looking to the outside post position, a horrible post position for this distance. Horse named Aquadini, who's trained by Dallas Stewart, making his stakes debut, broke his maiden, ran a good 2nd in an allowance race. And with Corey Lannery up, I'm going to say anything can happen in this year's Bluegrass Stakes, and I'm hoping that anything is a 30-1 shot on the outside.
I like it. I'll throw another wild card in this race is Dreammaker. 10-1 morning line, trained by Mark Cassie, owned by John Oxley. Very good connections. This horse is just weird. I mean, he was injured last year, threw a clunker in the Breeders' Futurity, then runs off by 8.5 in an allowance race, and then throws another clunker in his first start this year. And I don't know what to make of him, but he sounds like a Derby horse, Dreammaker, and I think he's, based on his pattern, he's probably going to run well, so watch out for him. This has been a wild and crazy Derby trail so far, and I expect that's going to continue this weekend. We'll keep you posted with all the latest developments this week with the Triple Crown News Minute, presented by Kentucky Equine Research.
The Kentucky Equine Research Performance Center is a new facility for KER located in Ocala, Florida. The things that we're doing here, we're trying to apply to real commercial solutions that we can bring into our own product line that can help horses in specific disciplines. One of the things that we're specifically interested in all performance horses, but racehorses particularly, is skeletal soundness. It's the thing that's most likely to sideline a racehorse. We came across some proprietary ingredients that we thought could improve the bone quality, which we've now tested and incorporated into a product, Triactin, that contains a key ingredient called BMC. In these studies, what we found was the horses that were supplemented increased the density of the dorsal aspect, the front of the cannon bone, which is really important for soundness in all age horses, but in 2-year-olds particularly. One of the bonuses of Triactin and BMC is, besides its effect on the bone, it's a super buffer for both the stomach and the hind gut. So you get really three benefits from using these types of products, Triactin and BMC, in that you're improving bone quality, but at the same time you're improving gut health.